Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on our last program for 2022. Now, I'm actually using a whole different system today. You can see that I'm not at Dean and DeLuca. I'm actually at my own home. Well, me and the cats. So it's our last program. I do have a lot to talk about, and I'm also going to go through all the comments and get your input. Everybody's welcome, and it'll be great to have you on with our last day of the year. So let's see if we can get maybe over 300 people in today's program joining in. We usually get 200, 300, 400, but it'd be great to get 300 today. But I understand there's a lot of you who are not doing what you might normally do. You're on holidays, or some of you might even be working. Let's just check what's happening and make sure everything is all sort of working. It appears to be working. So this is a bit of fun with this new system. I'm actually using the system that I used during the week for TNT, but I'm using it to go live. So tell us if there's any problems, and if you can't hear it or anything like that, and we'll do our best to sort it out. But it's incumbent upon me, as basically a news provider. Some of you might debate that, but I am going to provide you with what might be seen as bad. Well, some of you might see it as good news, but I think a lot of you are going to sort of see it as anti-news. Now, I will get to all your comments. Actually, I just realized that this system shows me the comments as well. That's going to be interesting. Basically, who have we got with us this morning? We've got Andrew, we've got Ron, Frank in Thailand, Acapulco. And are you there on holidays or do you live there? We've got Thug Life, of course. Oh dear, I'm in trouble now. We've got Thomas, David, who joined us very early on, and Chris, who's watching from Melbourne. Which part of Melbourne do you live? I think I lived in all sorts of parts of Melbourne. Urson, who's watching from Australia as well, and greetings from Austria. Just amazing that all these people from around the world tuning in to my humble little house in Phuket. Anyway, let's get to this news because I think some of you are going to have a lot to say about this, and I'll try and bring you up to date with the latest in what's happening. This is regarding, I suppose, the situation with China reopening, travel being allowed from January the 5th next year, Thailand expecting to have not a surge, but certainly an influx of Chinese travellers, and then the concerns that are being expressed around the world about that situation. So what do? I press that button. No, I got to go here and press that button. It's going to be a funny old day. Curbs likely for Chinese arrivals. This story from the Bangkok Post. Now, let's just go through this and we'll try and be quite thorough. The Ministry of Public Health looks set to propose adopting COVID-19 screening measures for international travellers, particularly ones coming from China, following China's announcement that it's reopening its borders, and the measures are designed to help curb the expected rise in the number of COVID-19 infected travellers from China. Following its meeting on Thursday, they're saying they're going to discuss this or decide on January the 5th. All international arrivals must have a record of receiving at least 2 shots of COVID-19. So this would be all international travellers. We'll have to get our vaccination certificates out again. But I have to say that this has not been confirmed. But this is what's being proposed and will be decided by the end of this week. So we may all have to present our COVID-19 vaccines again, at least 2 shots. All international travellers from China will have to have a health insurance package that fully covers COVID-19. These travellers also will be required to show negative results of an antigen test for COVID-19 completed 48 hours before arriving in Thailand. Another thing there. They will also be asked for cooperation in wearing face masks to practice social distancing and wash their hands frequently. The Department of Disease Control also plans in parallel to conduct sentinel surveillance for COVID-19. That sounds very officious. For COVID-19 infections, where it will randomly test international visitors arriving in Thailand using a PCR test. As for the Thais, they'll be advised to keep wearing face masks, not as if they ever stopped, in crowded areas, to get properly vaccinated and undergo a self-antigen test. And then they've got sort of projections, which are just sort of random. So it looks like we might sort of be not back to square one, but it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. So it may be from January the 5th, if they decide to go ahead, and I think at the moment that's the way it's heading, that all international travellers are going to have to perhaps provide proof of their COVID-19 vaccination, at least 2 shots, and also they may be required to wear face masks, blah, 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 blah. So that's the main sort of news that I wanted to go through with you. I'm sure a lot of you will have some comments on that, and we'll go through those in just a moment. Audio is good in this setup, no distortion. Thank you, Stefan. You are the... I was going to use that word. That's a wrong word to use because you're from Austria. Yes, you're the person who checks my audio. So let's go to some other coverage on this. And I will get to my top 10s for the year, the biggest stories of the year. And also I'll be covering sort of trends that look like they're going to be emerging next year. But I do want to go through this other news. So here we go. This is... Oh, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons again. And I press this one, here we go. So this is from Reuters, which I think we'll all agree is probably a good source. UK, France to add COVID restrictions on Chinese travellers. And it says that authorities around the world are imposing or considering curbs on travellers. This situation is really unveiling very, very quickly. Let's go through it. United States will impose mandatory COVID-19 tests on travellers from China beginning on January the 5th. All air passengers aged 2 and older will require negative results. So, looks like the US are imposing some sort of restrictions. The UK will require a pre-departure negative COVID-19 test from passengers from January the 5th. Looks like January the 5th is the magic date. France will require travellers from China to provide a negative COVID test less than 48 hours before departure. India has mandated a COVID-19 negative test result for travellers arriving from China, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea and Thailand. There goes my India trip. Japan will require a negative COVID-19 test for travellers from mainland China. New border measures for China went into effect at midnight on December the 30th. Blah, blah, blah. Italy has ordered COVID-19 antigen swabs and virus sequencing for all travellers from China. There was a story during the week about a plane landing in Milan where it's alleged that 50% of the travellers were COVID-19 positive. And that's really, I think, got a lot of coverage. And also, I think, alerted a lot of international authorities to the potential of this current outbreak in China reaching beyond its borders. Spain will require a negative COVID-19 test. Malaysia will screen all inbound travellers, not just from China, for fever and test wastewater from aircraft arriving from China. There's a job I'd like to get. Testing the wastewater from an aeroplane after a 10-hour flight. So Malaysia screening all travellers. Taiwan Central Epidemic Command Centre said all passengers on direct flights as well as by boat will have to take PCR tests. South Korea will require travellers. Now, countries monitoring the situation are Australia and the Philippines. So that story in Reuters today. So let's go to your comments on this and just see what you have to say. But it looks like there are certainly a lot of people now, a lot of countries winding up or having introduced, and it seems a lot of them are going to be introduced from January the 5th. Now this is the date, of course, that China's borders open and some Chinese people will start travelling leading up to the new year, of course. Okay, let's go to your comments and see what I don't completely agree, says Key J, with the rollback of the COVID travel measures, but at least Thailand isn't selectively putting restrictions on particular nationalities. I think that would be probably a bad look if they said we're only going to be testing people coming from China. I don't think, one, that's very logical, given that there could be a few Chinese on any plane coming from anywhere. So I think if they are going to introduce some sort of restrictions at the airport, that they need to do it across the board, whilst maybe having increased restrictions for people coming out of mainland China. What did Reg say? Reg said, here's a solution, no Chinese arrivals, none. Well, that's not going to happen, Reg. I think if they're allowed to travel, then they'll be allowed to travel. And if countries are going to impose restrictions, then that's okay too. You can't really say no Chinese arrivals. I mean, even in the United States, they haven't said that. They've said that they're going to be testing people. And I think that's probably reasonable. Reasonable because they understand that it's variations of the Omicron variant, which are circulating in China. And we know that it's much more transmissible, but it's much less lethal than earlier versions of COVID-19. Oh yeah, God forbid we offend the Chinese, says Reg. Okay, I get your vibe, Reg, and we understand what you're saying. It's not about offending anybody. I just think it's about being fair. And also, I think it's about being scientifically honest as well, given the situation that we're all now trying to live with COVID-19. And all those people saying, oh, we have to start living with COVID-19. Now these same people are arcing up saying, no Chinese. Well, I think if you're going to be living with COVID-19, you need to be living with it internationally. Rusty Lid says, Walking Street and the concerts at Bali High Pier in Pattaya were rocking last night. Grab the fun while you can. Look, I think we're going to have a rollicking New Year's Eve tonight. I'm sure many of you will be out enjoying that. And good luck to you if you do get out there. Just keep in mind, though, that things might change in the next few days. I still say there will be a big announcement in the next 2 or 3 days that I think will have some fairly profound consequences on things in the next couple of weeks. Good morning, Tom, says Frank. Oh, I don't think you're saying hello to me. There's actually somebody called Tom there. Please test them the same as they tested everyone else. Let them go through what they had to do. Travellers from China, says Corey Jackson. I understand, but everyone not necessary. I'm just going to move things around a bit here. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect anything. So I'm not sort of looking to the side there. The reason China's vacation rates are low, I think you meant vaccination rates are low, and the vaccine's not as effective. It's not unreasonable, nor should they take offence. Thailand will again be hit economically. Sympathies with Thai people, says Jarl. Well, look, at the moment we haven't, nothing is decided. The story I read from the Bangkok Post said these things are being proposed. And we'll just go through exactly what they were again. The first couple of paragraphs, I think, were the main ones. And we'll just check what that said again. Ministry of Public Health looking set to propose adopting COVID-19 screening measures for international travellers. And it's saying that they're going to have all international arrivals will have to have a record of receiving 2 shots of COVID-19. International travellers arriving in Thailand, the ones from China will have to have health insurance in addition. So they are imposing additional measures on the Chinese. What else do you have to say? Burton Schrader. There is the experience of past quarantine efforts in place requiring a test on arrival and 24-hour stay in a certified hotel should be possible for Chinese tourists. Eric says, I appreciate the way you just lay things out. I'm travelling to Thailand in February and watching your channel. Keep me up to date on all things going. You're awesome. Well, thank you very much, Eric. Thug Life. 254 plus watching. Is that some type of record? Oh, no. Thug Life, we've had a lot more than that. We've crossed the 500 mark one day, but I don't think Thug Life we're going to have that many people watching today. I think people have got other things to do, but those people who are watching are very grateful for you dropping in this morning. Have you got a cuppa with you? By the way, I got this lovely mug set from Sue and Tom for Christmas. Thank you very much. Using them, loving them. So I'm not sure what you've got in front of you at the moment. For some people, you may still be on the 30th of December, but here in Phuket, it's a bright, sunny morning with wisps of white cloud, and it's going to be a glorious day, and I think a very busy night in the party town of Patong and down along the west coast. Okay, so question is Thailand changing the 45-day visa? Okay, so for those countries that have visa exemption, there is currently a 45-day automatic stamp in your passport when you arrive, extendable by another 30 days. And for those countries that come in under visa on arrival, you used to get 15 days, you now get 30, with the option to extend for another 15 days. Now that's going to continue, as far as we know, at the moment. The current announcement is until the end of March. So if you come before the end of March, you will get those extended times for your visa exemption and also for your visa on arrival stamps. Please, everyone, have a Leo, perhaps. Light beer for me. Watching from Phoenix, Arizona, says Eric. I imagine it would be... What? I get so confused with what time of the year it is. I used to live down there. Now I live on this side of the equator. And then in Thailand, the weather's all over the place anyway because, well, it's always hot. So you don't sort of feel that there's a separate summer and a winter. We really get the rainy season and the dry season. It's always hot. Well, certainly down here in Phuket. Now, I have to say that all I have is a fan over there, about 4 meters away. There is an air conditioner unit up the top there. I never use it because it sounds like a 747 when I start it up. And I really don't need it. This is a 2-story brick and concrete house, and it doesn't get that hot anyway. And a fan is all I need to keep me cool here in Thailand. Morning, Tim. I've got a cup of happy tea. What's happy tea? Is it anything like happy water? It's winter, but it doesn't get under 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what, about 10, 12 degrees centigrade? Thanks for the update there, Eric. Yeah, we talk about happy hot water. Yeah, it never gets much below, well, about 20 centigrade here in Phuket. In fact, it was a little bit on the cool side the other day, and I had to put a light jacket on. Horror of horrors. Okay, hot and humid in Melbourne feels like Thailand. Yes, it gets, well, doesn't get that humid, well, nothing like Thailand down in Melbourne, but I know you can get some very hot days up to 40 degrees plus in Melbourne this time of the year through till the end of February. Okay, so to some of the top 10s, I was going to go through. If you've got any other comments, by the way, about those countries who have imposed travel restrictions, or those countries that are looking to impose travel restrictions, including Thailand, would be interested in your comments and your input, and I'll certainly read it out. Ads Bohemian says, question, I came in visa on arrival 45 days yesterday. Can I extend for another 30 days after 45 days is over? Yes. So on about the 42nd or 43rd day, I would recommend just get all your ducks in a row, find out where the immigration officers are. I don't know where you are writing from. But yes, all you need to do is go to immigration with 1,900 baht and fill out a form. I believe you may need a photo. Just always keep a photo with you if you're doing anything with visas, because they sometimes want them, sometimes they don't. Maybe you don't need the photo for the visa extension, but yes, it's just filling in a piece of paper and you will get another 30 days. If you came in on visa on arrival, you would have been given 30 days on your visa, and you can extend that for another 15 days. Thomas Hardy, yes, we were lucky to have Christmas and New Year celebrations open in Thailand. There will be requests for prayer and respect after New Year's Day. Yes, Thomas, I think we know what's going on there. I will talk a little bit about that later. Buster Reed, good morning, Tim. Love the show. Keep it up. I will. And can I just sort of say, before I get on to my top 10 stories for the year and also looking at some trends for next year, that it's been, in some ways, an annus horribilis this year. That's probably not fair because it's probably, I think, more fairly said as a year of change. Professionally, I'm much, much, much happier, 99% less stress. Financially, I'm better off, much, much better lifestyle. So no matter how bad or rough it was during the middle of the year when we had the great separation, I'm in a much better place. And I have to thank you for actually helping me make that happen. Because building this channel from nothing, like I started with an empty page, and I didn't know whether 1 or 2 people would watch, but we routinely get, about 10,000 people on average watching each day. And I mean, I'm just shocked and amazed and very grateful. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I really do mean it. I get up every morning and I'm very grateful for the situation of, at my age, 63, being able to sort of reinvent myself as a bit of a YouTuber. And next year, certainly there's going to be a ramping up of programming, and I want to make sure I try and provide you with really good, accurate analysis of what's happening here in Thailand. Yes, I basically read other people's news. I acknowledge that, but what I try and do is make sure that I give you a perspective on that, and sometimes what they print is just bullshit. And you need to know, because if you're coming here to Thailand, if you live here in Thailand, you need to be able to at least trust what you're hearing, and you need to know what's going on. And there's a lot of code and stuff written when a lot of these stories are written. So I want to sort of cut through the code and at least deliver you some accurate information. Okay, so what else have we got to say here? I did need a photo to extend the 45-day visa exemption, says Eric Clark. But they take one for you at the Hua Hin immigration facility for a small fee. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do need that passport-sized photo if you apply for your visa extension. But you're right, most of the immigration outlets have got a place where you can go and get a photo taken or a photostat done. If you can go into immigration, though, with that photo and with all the paperwork all ready to go, you don't have to then get to the front of the queue to be told, you have to go and get some of those bits and pieces. Any news on permanent sidekick for TNT? Thug Life, unless you're offering, no. I do. Kenny McAlpine. Hi, Tim. I'm drunk. Kenny, we're all much better off having received that piece of news. Thank you very much. We've now been alerted and we understand if something untoward comes from your particular message. Rick E, now you just need... No, let me tell you. David Hodgson, you're welcome to... Thanks, David. We were halfway through that comment. Oh, yes, Thug Life. Now, we do have Nick. Remember young Nick who was here a few weeks ago? Nick's going to be back again next week. And I think next week, he's currently with his family over in the United States, enjoying Christmas and New Year. So, yeah, he might become a bit of a permanent sidekick. I mean, I certainly, the way things are sort of chugging along, I do need one part-time staff. But they need to be here every day. And they need to be here early, which puts a lot of people off. So, help from, I think you're saying hello, Hans, from chilly, wet Redwood City in California. Don't need a sidekick, got a cat. Thanks, Ron. Speaking of which, I think once they're fed, they go off and they find somewhere nice and cool to have a bit of a sleep during the day. Nana from Nana's Rooftop Restaurant in Kamala Beach would be a great co-host, says Hans. I'm not sure if Nana would either be available. I'm sort of on the other side of the island from Kamala. So as the crow flies, Kamala's not too far away, but by road it's about a half hour, 40-minute drive. Serena says, good morning, Tim and everyone. Greetings from sunny and windy Singapore. Never that windy in Singapore, is it? I will be in Phuket in June, says Andrew Rogers, for a month. I'll do some sidekicking for you, Tim. Andrew, thank you very much. Yeah, look, I mean, next year is going to be an interesting time. We spent the last 4 months sort of getting things chugging along. I didn't realise I would sort of be at this stage of monetization or viewers or subscribers. Subscribers these days in YouTube, it's a very hard gig. I remember in the early days of Facebook, for example, it was very easy to get followers, and now it's just hard work. And the same thing's happening to YouTube. Everybody's hopping onto YouTube. Probably only about 1% of those people may be successful or turn it into some sort of a business or even a side business. But I'm looking to make it a sort of a real thing and something that I can do, as I get progressively older and more feeble. Roger says, people follow your program, Tim. It's information, it's entertaining. Handy knowing what's happening up there, especially when I plan to return. Thanks, Roger. Do my best to provide you with some good information. Are you a distant relative of Bert? Says Roger. No. Bert Newton, who was a fabulous entertainer in Australia, particularly well known in Melbourne from his TV days with Graham Kennedy, IMT, Don Lane's program, and then his own morning program for many, many years. Died this year, I think, Bert Newton, but certainly an entertainer, one of the best entertainers to have come out of Melbourne over the past 50 years. Howdy from Central Texas. Let's go to, let's see how we go here. These are what I call the top 10 stories for the year. So see how you go with these. See if you remember them. These are in no particular order. And they've all sort of come out of here. So I hope I get these right. Do you remember Tang Mo? Tang Mo was a 37-year-old influencer. And I think she did a few soapies on Thai TV as well. The death of the TV actress in late February sparked many theories and plenty of debate. Now, this story was not big news on English media in Thailand, but in Thai media, it was fast and furious. Huge on social media, and it became the most social media, published, posted issue of the year. There was a debate, there was a police investigation, there was suspicion of the mother, and she reportedly fell off a speedboat in the Chao Phraya River on February the 24th. The body was found 2 days later. Police eventually ruled out murder. And they say they died as a result of an accident caused by negligence and recklessness of both the captain, the crew, and the other passengers. So that was in February, a huge story as far as Thailand's concerned. Now, a big story I'm sure we'll all remember from the 5th of August this year. Excuse me for just a moment. The Mountain Bee Fire in Satahip. Now, there has been 23 people died as a result of that particular conflagration. The Mountain Bee was called a pub and bistro, but essentially it was just a barn, a warehouse that had been retrofitted to turn it into a bit of a nighttime venue for basically drinking and having a good time with live bands and stuff. 22 people were also injured and remain injured. Happened at 1 a.m. on the 5th of August. And it was in Satahip in Sukhumvit Road there. The fire caused 13 immediate deaths and 38 injuries, but other people succumbed eventually over the next couple of months. Horrific burn injuries. Those people lived through hell until they eventually succumbed to their injuries. The worst disaster of its kind in Satahip, which of course is in the province of Chonburi. Now, one big story that is still an ongoing story, and as far as media is concerned, has been hotly followed, debated, and, there's still a big question mark over this, and that's the decriminalisation of cannabis, marijuana, I suppose, on June the 9th this year. It was happened. The Public Health Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Anitin Charnvirakul unilaterally decided, because it was one of his party's policies, and they were one of the coalition parties, he unilaterally decided to announce the removal of cannabis from the Category 5 list of illicit drugs, illicit narcotics. Now, since then, they've been trying to push some legislation through Parliament that would codify the situation, provide guidelines, and also discuss the ways that people can not only retail the product, but how they can use the product privately, what the rules and regulations are, and how people can cultivate the product. That has not passed through Parliament, and I would hotly tip that it won't go through in this Parliament, leaving what I would describe as a Wild West situation where people are just doing exactly what they want, and the police saying, well, we don't really know how to police this because there are no guidelines. So a real interesting situation, and that has provided a pretty big impact to Thai society this year. And whether you like marijuana or don't, I think you can agree that that has been a big story this year. Now, another big story has been health concerns for His Majesty the King's eldest daughter, who was, of course, going to be the heir to the throne. And she was one of 3 of the King's children who had been given titles which would have given the 3 of them the opportunity to have become the heir to the throne. But as the eldest daughter, because of the Palace Act in 1924, she would have had the opportunity. She had a health meltdown, let's be polite, nearly 2.5 weeks ago. And she's since been in a stable condition, but basically comatose, in the Chulalongkorn University Hospital in Bangkok. And we've heard nothing from the palace over the past 10 days now about her condition, but the government have been asking people for their thoughts and prayers, and I believe that in the next few days we'll hear something more about that. Okay, so that's just some of the stuff. I've got some more top 10 stories to go through, but I thought we'll just quickly check your comments. And it's a new experience to watch TNT, says Scott D, during the morning daylight here in Thailand. I always watch the night at night in Chicago. Scott D, a regular viewer, and good to have you as a sort of an online friend. So thank you very much for your ongoing support over the past year, and hope you're having a great time here in Thailand. Thailand seems to have quite a lot of building fires. Poor adherence to regulation, I'd say, says Thug Life. Yeah, look, there are the occasional horrible fires. And it always seems to happen that they're bars or nightclubs or something, or the ones that certainly get our attention have been. Of course, just recently, just across the Thai border in Phoi Phet in Cambodia, there was a huge casino fire. And it looks like more than 20 Thais were killed in that fire. They're still pouring through the ashes, and I think the death toll is above 30 now for that particular fire. And I haven't really updated myself fully on that story, but again, another entertainment complex catching fire. So Thug Life, yes, I think you're right. The Thais do seem to announce law changes a tad early. Yeah, I think the whole cannabis bill was completely mishandled. And this is not me being negative about the drug. I don't try and mention my particular ways of my personal feelings about marijuana and cannabis, although it might be fairly obvious. But just talking strictly about the way it was handled, it was completely mishandled. When the election happens, and if there's a government change, most likely the marijuana laws will change over time, says Andrew Rogers. Okay, well, I'll give you the heads up on that. My tip is that in the election that will most likely be held on May the 7th next year, there will be a change of government. It will be the opposition parties, the Per Thai Party and the other ones. Move Forward Thailand. And none of you had to prompt me for that. I actually remembered through my tiny brain. I think they'll get more than 50% of the vote. Both of them have been vociferous in their, I suppose their decision to push against any decriminalisation. In fact, there's been calls from both those parties to recriminalise the drug. Whether they'd actually do that as the government, I don't know. I think there's a lot of water to go under the bridge. If they don't get 50% of the vote, they'll probably have to call upon, of all people, Anitin Sharvirakun and his Bumjai Thai Party, who are conservatives, but of course have been pushing for this decriminalisation of cannabis. So it might be an unholy alliance between Move Forward, Per Thai and Bumjai Thai. Going to be an interesting time, and hopefully I can decode what's going on. Okay, Kenny, this is a Tim, Happy New Year. A young fellow, thanks for putting up with my garbage comments from Oz Kiwi. It's my pleasure. The birth of TNT is definitely a top 5 story, mate. Not really. So, okay, let's go through some other of these top 10s. Now, during the year, this was potentially a big story, but it really didn't sort of do much. But they renamed Bangkok. So officially now, Bangkok is actually called Krung Thep Mahanakhon. And, but have anybody gone, oh, gee, I have to change everything? I don't think any of you have decided to refer to the capital of Thailand as anything other than Bangkok. But officially now, it is known as Krung Thep Mahanakhon, and the nickname of Bangkok will just remain the common title that people from overseas use. But that was potentially a big news story. Probably the one that's had the most profound effect during the year, the big story, I think we're up to about number 6, has been the reopening of Thailand. Now, it started last year in July with the Sandbox project in Phuket, which I won't go through all the past criticisms, but I was pretty critical of it because they were promising the business people here in Phuket that everything was going to be back to normal and tourists to be flooding back. Was nothing like that. And a lot of people came back to Phuket. They reopened their hotels, they reopened their shops. And of course, they were hugely disappointed by the fact that there was only really a handful of early travellers that wanted to come back to Thailand. But it was a start. And I think from that, we then had this year the test and go quarantine free entry resumed back on February the 1st. COVID testing on arrival ended on May the 1st. And then the much hated Thailand pass ended on June the 1st. The Thailand pass, which really was the evolution of the Sandbox project, but of course for all of Thailand. That ended on June the 1st. So the cancellation of the Thailand pass registration happened on June the 1st, with tourists using their TM6 immigration form for vaccine declaration, says the Tourism and Sports Ministry. Another big story this year, and I suppose it had a lot of political dimensions. There is one area, not quite a province, but there is, out of the 77 municipalities around Thailand, there is only one that has an elected governor, and that's Bangkok. And this year, Chadchat Sitipun became the new Bangkok governor in a landslide. Now, he's from the opposition side of politics, and there was a lot of money put in by Palang Pracharat, that's the current Conservative government, candidates to try and win the Bangkok governor election, or the gubernatorial election, but he won in a landslide. And I think it did shake a lot of people in the ruling Palang Pracharat party, thinking, maybe we're not quite as popular as we think, because their heartland is Bangkok, the Bangkok elite. So Chadchat's proven to be a very popular governor still, and he's had a pretty hard time because well, I think any governor of Bangkok's going to be given a pretty hard time, but he remains very popular, and that was a big story with him winning by such a large majority. Now let's go to your comments, because at the end of the day, it is a live program. I've just got to get used to trying to do this. The sandbox was a disaster, says Andrew Rogers. Well, it wasn't so much a disaster. It was a start. Thailand was really spearheading the reopening of borders after the COVID lockdowns. And so somebody had to start somewhere, and it just so happened that it was Phuket on July the 1st last year. So there was nowhere near. I mean, I used to criticise the TAT a lot because they were talking about thousands and millions of people coming in under the sandbox. Well, it was, hundreds, and then a bit later, thousands. But it did leave a very bad taste in the mouth of entrepreneurs, hoteliers, tour operators, and retailers here in Phuket, because they all rushed back to try and take advantage of the promise of people rushing back to Phuket, but it didn't happen. I tried to warn people, but the TAT, they don't like me very much. Am I worried? No. I miss the good old days, like my 14-night ASQ in Bangkok. Oh, anybody who came to Thailand and did the alternative quarantine in a hotel, apart from paying for it, it was just being locked up. I couldn't imagine anything worse. Giles says, I'm worried one of those wooden paddles will fall onto one of Tim's cats. Well, they haven't. There was a cat here a moment ago. Where did she go? If they do appear, I'll grab them. But no, the paddles haven't fallen on the cats. They're quite sturdy there, actually. Don't miss the TM6. Yes, they got rid of the TM6, so if you do arrive in Thailand at the moment, you don't have to fill out that silly blue and white form, scrambling for... Anybody got a pen on the plane? Okay, so what else have we got? Happy New Year, Tim, and the TNT team. The TNT team is me. Producer, presenter, makeup, orange boy, the whole thing. Let's go through some other top 10 shows. Then we're going to check out some trends for this year. And biggest story, I think, by far, as I said, these are in no particular order, was the Nong Bua Lompu shooting massacre. It happened on October the 6th, and a 34-year-old called Panya Kamrab killed 36 people and injured 10 others by shooting, stabbing, and ramming his car into a kids' preschool, basically, childcare centre in Nong Bua Lompu province up in northeastern Thailand. He then killed himself, and the attack mainly occurred in a children's nursery located in the Utai Sawan sub-district. It's the deadliest mass murder by a single perpetrator in the modern history of Thailand, surpassing the death toll of the shooting in Nakhon Ratchasima back in 2020. Now, another story this year, I think this was more of a sort of a pop trend, was the Thai government encompassing and putting their arms around and warmly hugging to their bosom the idea of soft power. In other words, all the people that get onto their phones and they take a picture of something in Thailand and then post it, I don't suppose the Thai government really saw the value of that in the past. But Thais love their social media. They love taking photos of their food and their friends and the scenery and stuff. And they really encompassed this soft power and saw it as something that they could use in the future. And it all happened because of a rapper called Millie. And she was at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival in California in April. And she ate some mango sticky rice. And it was posted around the world. And she talked about mango sticky rice, how she really misses it. And that sort of just side mention of a Thai thing to an international audience was then grasped by the Thai government, who have then tried to get other influencers and pop stars and people, celebrities, to mention about Thai things when they're talking to the media, and using this soft power as a way of promoting Thailand. So that was a pretty big change to the way the Thai government and the TAT saw promoting Thailand in the future. They suddenly realised that there was an opportunity with social media to use it as a strong way of promoting the country. The last thing I have on my list was the Thailand floods. There was a tropical storm called Noru that caused enormous damage, particularly up in the northeast. And then, of course, all those floodwaters eventually came down to Bangkok. Bangkok, to the credit of basically the new Bangkok governor, were well prepared for flooding this year and certainly avoided the worst. But those floods up in the northeast were very, very severe from Tropical Storm Noru. And those tropical storms seem to be becoming more frequent and bigger each year as we look back over the last 20 years. So something that is probably going to change the way that cities prepare their infrastructure, the places that people live. We'll have to be aware of the fact that these tropical storms are getting more severe, particularly the poor people in the Philippines who wear the brunt of a lot of these storms coming out of the northwest of the Pacific and making their way over parts of the Philippines, causing a lot of destruction before weakening once they hit the Vietnamese coast after crossing the South China Sea. So they're my top 10 stories. Good, and what time is it? Are we still going on? Are you still there? Let's go through and check some of your comments. And don't kill cobras, says Nitbarn. They're needed to control the rodent population. Not sure where this comment came from. Get the pros to capture them and release them back to the forest. Yes, if you do see a snake, don't try and kill it. Just move slowly away and call. Hopefully you've got the number up on your refrigerator of the local snake person. I have had a snake, the snake man. I was going to get him on as a guest, but he hasn't confirmed with me when he can do it. Must be a lot of snakes around. But we had a black snake about this long in the kitchen, and I don't do snakes. Spiders, don't bother me. Rats, nah. Snakes, cannot do snakes. Okay, what else have we got? TNT was a backpackers magazine in London for years, published out of Earl's Court from the 70s until the internet. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I think TNT is also the name of the Ted Turner network in the United States. It's just 3 letters. Basically, it's Tim Newton Today. What else was I going to call the channel? All I had when I left Tiger was me and my reputation. All I could do was name it me. I had no other. So yeah, TNT is what it became. Hi, Tim from Isan, says Don Jordan. Hi, good morning to everybody in Isan. Yeah, the floods sucked, said Hans. My wife's brother tried to drive a van through some flooding and hydro-locked destroyed the engine. KJ, but hasn't Thailand always used its food for soft power? Saw a video once that a lot of the Thai restaurants worldwide was partly state-funded. Yeah, look, but I think what happened is the Thai government embraced this soft power this year, and it was Millie and her concert or her session at Coachella that really made the Thai government sit up and go, ooh, we get it. Only took them 10 years to get on the bandwagon. John Unvaxxed, 2 weeks imprisonment in a hotel room in Thailand was the best promotion for Mexico. Yeah, a lot of people at that time were saying, I'm not going to Thailand, I'm going to Mexico because anybody can go there. I keep on telling people when they say, oh, I'm going to Cambodia instead, or I'm going to Myanmar or Malaysia. Well, that's fine, except none of those places are Thailand. If you want to come to Thailand, you're coming here because you like Thailand, you like the culture, maybe you like the women or the guys, or you like the cheap beer, or you like Thai food, or you like the Thai way of life, or the vibe, or the beaches, or Sukhumvit Road, whatever it is. So it's all very well saying, well, I'm going to Mexico instead, I'm going to the Philippines. Well, that's fine, but they're not Thailand. So yes, it was difficult to come to Thailand for a year or so, and it did take Thailand a while to open up. But at the end of the day, you look at the number of deaths from COVID-19, Thailand did fairly well out of all that. So by luck, serendipity, or by planning, I think the former rather than the latter, then Thailand did come through COVID-19 relatively well. And also without giving a whole lot of money away to people when they weren't working. So economically, Thailand has emerged from COVID-19 economically fairly strong. Thomas National Transport, says Ray Bond. Where's that? Is that in Australia? There's a TNT transport company in Australia as well. Maybe that's it. So Coachella is still a thing, says Hans, apparently. There's no place like Thailand. Amateur gynecologist. Yes, you're right. You need to change your name. Buckaroos. Congratulations on the channel. The work you put in shows its production and reflects the number of subscribers and views you get. Yeah, look, thank you, by the way, Buckaroos. This Saturday morning thing, hopefully we're going to zip it up a bit because now I can sort of, I can refer to my iPad and I can show you things. It's going to be a lot better, although hopefully I'll have somebody doing it with me so I can interface with you and we can talk. Another thing I'm trying to do this year, talkback radio. I'm going to try and set up a situation where you can call in, either on video or just voice, but you'll be able to talk directly to me and we'll have a daily talkback program. So that's something that I'm working on. Technologically, it's a little bit of a minefield, but we are working on that. I know some people do it already, but they're usually radio stations that are set up for talkback that just put themselves on video. I'm approaching it from the opposite direction, from a YouTube perspective, and then trying to introduce the audio, and got to figure out how we do that, how we sift through the calls, how we put things in a queue. So we're working on that. When I say we, I mean me. Flight prices are still crazy high, says Stefan. A thug life. I love everything about Thailand, including the taxi mafia. Not much to love there. Has anything changed with COVID-19? No, I don't think so, says Nongwoo So. Alpha Bravo, good morning, everybody. Hit the like button, please. Yes, hit that like button. Gee, it doesn't take you a moment, and it does a lot to help me. Soft power, you mean cheap advertising? Well, call it what you like. But yeah, if they can promote people to actively use this sort of soft power, then that's not a bad thing. Massive Zoom call program. Yeah, look, I think, Andrew, that Zoom call thing, it's not going to work on Zoom. I've looked at Zoom. It's not really a suitable product for what I need to do. And you've sort of got to also have some sort of control over the people who are calling in. I remember I used to work in talkback radio, and we had the kill button. And I had a producer who would sort of go through the phone calls and do a quick filter before they got on. If it was, that guy again, they don't get on. So I'm sure there's going to be the trolls and the ones that are problematic. So I've got to find a way to filter calls and a way to kill the call, if that's what it is. So there's a lot to figure out before we do it, but that is my hope next year. Aventure Asiatique. I hope that everything stays the same. I'm traveling to Thailand on January the 12th, and I have my itinerary booked until April the 5th. You need to learn how to spell itinerary. Just put your COVID-19 vaccination papers in your bag, because after the January the 5th, if that proposal goes ahead, you might need them when you come to Thailand, no matter where you come from. TNT is a transport company in Australia, recently bought out by FedEx. Right, thank you, Aussie something or other, Aussie Bob 9999. Does Tim have a pool villa? I'm looking hard for a pool villa in Phuket, in central or east Phuket. They're getting expensive. Yes, they've anything to rent in Thailand at the moment, particularly in Phuket, with the influx of some 5,000 to 7,000 Russians every day. they're just putting cash down and saying, I want it for 3 or 4 months. And the villa agents are going, no problem, it's yours. So there is a bit of a dearth on the rental market at the moment. There's a lot of demand. The prices are skyrocketing. If you're looking for something at the moment, you're coming in while the market's very, very hot. Now, as it happens, this place, which I rent, by the way, I've been here for 3 years, the landlord says they're going to sell the house. Now, that might happen tomorrow, or it might happen in 20 years. I don't know. But of course, I'm out there having a look now, so I can tell you the rental market is very, very hot and overpriced at the moment. So don't rent something now if you can avoid it. Try and hold on till maybe at least February, and I'm sure you'll see a lot more villas become available and the prices go down. That would be the same for pretty much anywhere around Thailand at the moment. Condos in Bangkok, condos in Pattaya or pool villas there. I'm sure the same situation is the same. KK Nock says, I lived in the Philippines for 12 years in Subic Bay. I can only recall one real severe one in 2014. And now they're getting 3 or 4 of these big tropical storms coming through and killing many people each year. So it is becoming a thing for planners and for governments in Southeast Asia in this sort of tropical storm zone. Some of them, of course, becoming typhoons and causing a lot of destruction. Okay, ouch. You can always live in Isan, Tim. No, I like living near the beach. I like the beach. I like Phuket. I have friends here in Phuket, and I'm going to stay in Phuket if I can, as long as it doesn't get too expensive. We were going to talk about some other things, weren't we? Trends for next year. We'll just do those very briefly. Had them all set up here on the iPad. Let's go to the trends. And here we go. No, that's not that one. Where is it? Here we are. What's hot and what's not. So this is from Thai PBS World. And in is cashless and out is coins and banknotes. Well, this has obviously been happening as an evolution over the past couple of years. I pretty much use my phone. There's a photo of it where you just scan a QR code and pay for things. It's very easy. It's not necessarily any quicker than just throwing a 100 baht note down and getting some change. And some people, they sort of dawdle their way through and they forget their passcode and, the number's wrong, and or they're scanning and it doesn't work and they have to restart their phone. But it's definitely moving forward to this sort of cashless society. So these scanning QR codes, very, very popular in Thailand as long as you've got a Thai bank account. In, work from anywhere. Out, work from home. Well, over the last year, this sort of working from home has become a thing, or the last 3 years. Working from anywhere, remote, digital nomads. There's going to be more of this in the future, and I think the Thai government, along with a lot of other governments, will come out with some particular visas for people that want to work remotely. Maybe not just sort of the t-shirt and singlet digital nomads. These might just be normal, regular people who are working 8 hours a day, but can work from anywhere and may choose to come to Thailand to work. In, Messi. Out, Ronaldo. Obviously, this means a lot more to soccer people, but I think the last World Cup put this Mr. Messi into the spotlight. In, TikTok. Out, Facebook. Now, this is definitely a thing that's happened over the past couple of years. Facebook is sort of starting to look very dowdy, and TikTok is just where things are going. TikTok and Instagram. Facebook really, for me, is used I just use the Facebook Messenger. I post in Facebook, but it doesn't sort of really do anything. It doesn't have much reach. TikTok has become the more popular social media, and here in Thailand as well, Line is very popular. Line. In, Thai dessert. Out, French croissant. I don't know that Thai dessert. I don't think Thais do dessert very well, personally. French croissant, not popular. In secluded bars, out easily accessible bars located at prime spots. Well, let's hope that continues. In EV cars, out free EV charging stations. Yes, I think the days of free electric charges for your EV car will sort of end, and we'll have to start paying for it. But I've done my research around Phuket and sort of between here and Bangkok, and it's still very, very cheap to charge an EV. Even at the fast charging stations, if you use your own power supply, you're using off-peak because it's at night time, and it's really just not that expensive. Well, obviously, it's a lot cheaper than putting a tank of petrol in your car. So I'm waiting for my EV car. As soon as I get it, you'll hear all about it. In Boy Romance Series or Series Y, out series featuring only straight men and women characters. Well, okay, might be a bit of a change in sort of soapy trends in Thailand. I don't really watch them. In more realistic relationships where women are equal to men. This is a hot topic in Thailand. Out weak heroines who are often bullied and abused. Been a big criticism in Thai soap operas how women are portrayed, and I do believe there is a big change over the past couple of years, and we're starting to see a lot less of sort of the objectifying of women on Thai soap operas and the bullying and the abuse that's talking about. Pretty serious issue. In cafes and bistros in old buildings, out cafes and shopping malls or office buildings. Yeah, bring on the cafes and bistros in old buildings. I think that's great. In Isan-styled raw meat, soy ju, and out yuk ho, neither of which I have tried. E-tickets for shows and concerts are in. Out tickets, especially plastic card-styled ones. Yeah, so last time I went to a concert, I got a sort of a Visa card type ticket and used that to get my seat and stuff. But it looks like it's all going on to phones and things, so I think that's a good thing. Yeah, if you go to the cinema here in Thailand, it's not so bad now because you've got the vending machines to get your tickets. But when you used to have to queue, the Thais would be ahead of you, and they loved their, save 1 baht if you scan this, scroll it across, do a dance, wave your hands about. It used to take half an hour to buy a ticket. It used to drive me crazy. Anyway, there's some trends for next year if you're coming back, and that story was from Thai PBS World. So hopefully that might have been a little bit of interest. Oh, gee, Jeff A. Perot, thank you very, very much for a kind donation. That's a lovely way to finish off the year. Very, very kind and appreciated. And all those people that have sent some money through YouTube. It's not expected, and it's always a surprise, and I do appreciate it. It obviously helps just try and push the channel along, and I'm doing my best to try and make sure we will have some changes next year. Breaking news, Barbara Walters has died, says Jeff. Is it Jeffy? Jeff A? Yeah, Barbara Walters, just in from the ABC in Australia. Barbara Walters, a journalist in the United States for a long, long, long time. I think she was on The View. She was one of the 4 ladies on that program. So very sad news if that's the case. I didn't realise she was ill. Nong Warso says, I live in Isan and I'm an Aussie, but a lot of the other Farangs, you don't see them. They don't leave their big aircon house. Alpha Bravo, without Central Plaza Shopping Mall, Udon Thani is nothing. In TNT, out. Thank you very much. Bangkok, whoever you are, out wearing face masks in the pool. Yeah, I've never worn a face mask in my pool. The best thing I did this year, no, it was last year, was put the pool in. I just love it. 29,000 baht. I love promoting it because it was a very, very good deal. It all came in a box, big box, quite a heavy box. But it was delivered by Lazada, and a very wiry little Burmese guy lifted it off the truck. I couldn't have lifted it. And it took me and my partner about, I don't know, 3 hours to put the pool up, and then it took another half day to fill it with a couple of big water trucks. We've been swimming in it ever since. Love the pool. So 6 metres across, about 1.4 metres deep. And it comes with a ladder, comes with a filter. And a year and a half later, it's still there chugging away, and I'll be in it today, I can guarantee. She was aged 93, and she was on The View. So thank you very much for that news, Jeff Perot. Vivian Westwood died during the week, yes. Hey, Tim and all. Dan here from Utai Tani. Thanks very much, Dan Keeling, and appreciate you watching the program during the year. Barbara wasn't ill, she was just old. Yes, when people, passed suddenly when they're 90 years or 100 years old. You think, really? Suddenly? She's we'll obviously see quite a lot of. Don't do that. Reg, don't. Just don't do that, because I'm not going to read them out. Very sad, and we'll probably see some eulogies from the network she was appearing on during the next couple of days. And, somebody, perfect match, blocked that. Hide user from the channel. Bye-bye. So we do get a bit of spam from time to time, but I think we've chatted for long enough. I just wanted to finally say, Tim, could you use bore water for your pool? Well, I could have, and it may be that the water that was pumped into my pool was bore water. It didn't have a very high mineral content, though, because when I threw the chlorine in, it only took, it sort of all went a bit brown, like a light coffee brown, but it only took about 1 or 2 days to clear entirely. And they said, even if it goes that sort of light brown colour, it's the chlorine that, I don't know, does something. And it was very, very cleared very, very quickly. So I'm not sure if it was bore water or not, but I just throw a couple of chlorine tablets in each week, and it's the easiest thing to look after in the world. Touch wood. Oh boy, you really know you've made it, Tim, once the sex bots arrive. Yeah, thanks, Thug Life. I get plenty of those, but I do my best to delete them so that when you're using the comment section, you're not getting barraged by spam. I want to try and make the comment section, at least on TNT, a place where everybody can go, but we will make sure that people are treated fairly. I don't like people sort of attacking other commenters. Arguing with them is fine, but attacking them and just abusing them is not on, Steve. And also people that make just outrageous, incorrect or racist comments, I'll also delete those. And somebody has to be the umpire, and on my channel, that's me. And I do my best to allow a lot of most comments to get through. But you got to have an umpire on these comments sections to make sure that the information going through is, well, both interesting, entertaining, informative, and not just rubbish. Good innings for Barbara. Rest in peace, says Andrew Rogers. Happy New Year, Tim, and everybody watching. Thank you, Robbo and Silver Fox and Kimmo. Hello as well. Just from me, I just wanted to thank all of you sincerely for your support over the past 4 months since we started TNT. It's, as I said, I had a bit of a rough ride in the middle of this year, but I've ended the year in a really good place. And apart from this cough I've had for a few weeks, I'm fitter, happier, doing better financially, much, much less stressed, and in a good place. And I hope I can say that of you as well. Hopefully you've got to the end in a good place, and that you're looking forward to next year. Just remember that this sort of wall we put up on the end of December the 1st each year, it's not as if you get over the wall and things have changed. Really, it's just the same as the day before. So this is an artificial construct, this New Year's Eve we do each year, and that tomorrow really is just another day. And that it's a continuation of November and December the year before. It's not as if you're having a fresh start. So if you're going to be doing New Year's resolutions or imagining that things magically change overnight, they don't. Any baggage that you've got now, you will have that baggage again tomorrow. So it's up to you to actually do something to put yourself in a position where you're able to be happier. Because at the end of the day, we're seeking happiness. I get my happiness living here in Thailand, from my friends, from speaking to my family every week, from hopping in my pool, mowing my lawn, and feeding my cats and having a cuddle with them each day. I'm a fairly simple person, but I also really enjoy my work. I enjoy my work as a sort of a small broadcaster, as a person who's doing the news, and I hope I can build the channel up over the next year. It won't happen like that. It'll happen bit by bit, and there'll be a bit of a fallback, and it'll keep on progressing. But I'm going to work very hard next year to try and make sure I can deliver good, accurate news, make sure I cut through the bullshit, and make sure that we deliver something that is accurate and useful. Most importantly, useful. And do it every day. Be consistent. So I hope I've been consistent. I'd love to send you a beer, but I don't understand how to. KK Nook, I don't actually drink beer, but soda water, gratefully received. And if you're ever in Phuket, look me up. I'll come and have a soda water with you. Send Tim a jar of Vegemite. No. Promite. I prefer Promite. My sister, she visited about 3 or 4 years ago, and she bought a box of 10 Promite. Not sure how they let her through customs, but I think I'm on my second last jar at the moment. So I do prefer Promite to Vegemite. Don't tell the government. They won't let me back in. God bless you, Tim. Happy and blessed 2023 from Graham to you and all your subscribers. Alpha Bravo. Difficult to find happiness inside all of us and totally impossible to find it anywhere else. You're right. But the only person that will make you happy is yourself. So when you look in the mirror in the morning, promise yourself that you're going to try and make yourself happier that day, because that's about the best we can do. 360 people watching now means you're doing very well. I'm surprised. But look, thank you, all of you. It's time to go. It's time to say goodbye to 2022. I thought we'd have an appearance of the cats, but it hasn't happened. No, they're gone. They didn't happen. Now, tomorrow, I've got an upload from an interview I did during the week with Steve Ross. Now, he's a funny guy. So I was speaking to him mainly about what he thought about the marijuana situation, because he does enjoy a bit of a smoke. And also we were talking about marijuana etiquette, about how that will change the way that people are using it and what's acceptable and what isn't. That's on tomorrow's program, and I'll make sure that I've got something interesting every Sunday from now. That's a solemn promise, and they'll be sort of more long-term issues and sort of stories that they have a longer shelf life than just a day, like most of the news. Respect to Tim, another Promite man. Thank you very much. I love my Promite. Hoping Steve Ross a quick recovery. Yes, he looks a bit like Harry Potter at the moment. He's got that sort of lightning-shaped stitch. He fell off his bike. He'll tell you all about it. I'll put a link to his description of what happened to him. And you can see the whole scar in vivid colour. But thank you all very much. We'll look forward to seeing you in 2023, back on Monday with our usual TNT program. I'm not sure where I'm doing it from. Probably be from here, I think. But I've sort of got a few different positions, and I've got my office over there. So one way or another, we'll bring you the news. As I said, I think there could be some big news coming out the next couple of days, which we'll just have to cope with. And wishing you all a safe and happy new year, whatever you're doing tonight. For me, it's going to be sitting on that couch watching Team America. That's just what I do on New Year's Eve. So it might be a few friends. We'll see what happens. But I'll be in bed probably 10 or 11 o'clock. Just what I do. Have a happy new year. We'll see you in 2023. Now, how do I finish it? Oh, this is how I finish it. Bye-bye.